Hello and welcome to another page of the Midgard Chronicle, Poseidon's Trident, Icarus Wings, the Golden Fleece. Collecting weapons is a staple of the God of War series, but so is collecting artifacts. Norse mythology is ripe with a lot of awesome objects that could help Kratos and Atreus on their journey to stop Ragnarok and face the Aesir gods. And today I'm gonna list some artifacts that we may see in the game, and I'm not doing this alone. Today I am joined by the legend himself, the rock and roll gamer, Shayne Static. How's it going, Shayne?
What's going on, dude? I'm super excited to be here and to go over this video with you guys. For all of you that don't know, my name is Shayne Static. I'm the rock and roll gamer, mostly do God of War stuff. If you like, check out the channel. Let's hang out. Now, let's go over some artifacts. So within the Draupnir edition of the God of War Ragnarok boxes, we do see that it comes with Draupnir. And we see Ryan Hurst, the voice of Thor, get very excited about seeing this artifact, which gets me even more excited. Draupnir in Norse mythology is stated in many sagas, but the most notable is probably Skullskaparmal from the Prose Edda. But most people know this story as when Thor gets his hammer, Mjolnir. And within the same saga, Odin gets Draupnir from the dwarves, which copies itself 8 times every 9 nights, which could be a pretty cool ability in God of War Ragnarok, let's say for building up our treasure, our hack silver, our gold, and stuff like that. So what can we expect from Draupnir when we play God of War Ragnarok? Honestly, Draupnir is shrouded in a ton of mystery right now, and not a lot is known about this artifact in the God of War universe. So at this time, it's pretty much anyone's guess. But we could always speculate. Kind of like stated before, kind of increase our collectibles, our hack silver, our Aegir's gold, stuff like that. Or maybe Draupnir can come with some type of stat boost. Like just for example, our runic power. I really don't know at this point, and pretty much no one besides Sony Santa Monica does as well, but this gets me very excited, especially seeing the excitement on Ryan Hurst's face. So this has to be a really cool artifact that we might get our hands on in God of War Ragnarok.
Along with Draupnir, the text on the Draupnir edition map mentions a certain cloak of feathers, and of course nothing is mentioned just because, so this cloak must be something, right? Turns out it is, surprise, and we may have already seen it. In Norse mythology there is a cloak named Fjaðrhamr aka Fjaðrhamr that belongs to Freya and has the ability to turn its user into a falcon. Sounds familiar? That's right. Freya's shape-shifting ability seemingly comes from a cloak, and I suspect that it's actually this. So, seemingly, we have an additional piece of lore that it was made by Brock and Sindri. But why this cloak? Well, interestingly, in the myths, Freya gives the cloak to Loki so he can fly to Jotunheim to save Idun. Isn't that an interesting coincidence? Am I implying that the cloak will be given to Atreus so he will be able to fly? Yes, that's exactly what I'm implying. It's Icarus Wings 2.0. It's a little odd because Loki can shapeshift, so he wouldn't need a cloak to fly, but the myths are riddled with inconsistencies like this. It will also be interesting to see how this will be implemented gameplay-wise. Maybe Atreus will fly out to scout enemies. That would be a complete Assassin's Creed ripoff, and no one wants that. Either way, we know Fjaðrhamr is in the game, but whether we come in possession of it remains to be seen.
So Brisingamen is a necklace that is worn by the goddess Freya, and she receives this necklace from the dwarves for a little quote-unquote sleepover that she had with them. We learned this from many different sources, just like Thrymskida, where Thor actually dresses up in a wedding dress, long story short right there, and also in Húsdrapa, where Loki actually steals this. But many of the qualities of this necklace is unknown, so Sony Santa Monica actually has free reign to actually give this necklace some really cool abilities in God of War Ragnarok. So how do we even know that Brisingamen is even in the God of War universe? Well, we can almost safely assume this just from the character art of Freya herself. The necklace is prominently placed around her neck in the character art in God of War 2018, and also in the character art of God of War Ragnarok. So I do believe that this necklace is Brisingamen, and if you actually look really closely, it actually says Baldur in runes. And just theorizing a little bit, this necklace could actually have some pretty cool qualities. Like maybe even help Atreus control his Spartan rage, like we see him during Tyr's Temple when Modi is actually attacking Kratos. Whatever Brisingamen may bring to the table, Sony Santa Monica has to have this on lock.
Perhaps the most iconic artifact on this list Gjallarhorn is Heimdall's horn that is used to signify the beginning of the Ragnarok battle. In the mythology, the Gjallarhorn doesn't have any special abilities. Heimdall uses it for the intended purposes of making sounds and drinking, but you know, our old pals at Santa Monica, they know how to twist anything and make it fun, so I wouldn't put it past them to give the horn magical properties of battling kind, naturally. Whether it deafens enemies or blows them away or something else, the horn can be an awesome creative weapon. I think the chance of fighting Heimdall during Ragnarok is very high, especially since he fights Loki in the myth, and taking the horn and use its abilities against our foes would be an amazing addition to the arsenal.
Alright, so we're going over a ton of artifacts that the Aesir get from the dwarves in Skald's Kaupamál. Only this artifact is actually going to the god Freyr. So the Sons of Invaldi actually give Skidbladnir to Freyr, and it's actually a pretty friggin' cool ship. It is strong enough to hold against the harsh seas, but it is also extremely moldable. The boat can be folded up so small that it could fit within a bag, and in some places it says within a pocket, but I have no idea if this is true, or even back then, or even the Aesir gods even have pockets, so there you go. Now, Kratos and Atreus do have to travel throughout the 9 realms in God of War Ragnarok, and let's just be honest, there's probably going to be a lot of boat time. And yes, boats are conveniently placed at docks throughout God of War 2018, but this may not be the case for God of War Ragnarok. Some places might not be attainable during the early gameplay of God of War Ragnarok, so we may get our hands on this boat, fold it up, put it in our pocket or in our bag, whatever it might be, so we can go traverse some unattainable areas from early game. This is just a theory, of course, but I don't know about you, I would love to get my hands on this boat.
The next artifact on this list is Vidar's shoe. I'm assuming your question right now is who's what, but you're in luck because I've made a video going into much detail about who Vidar is and what his shoe is about. But in short, Vidar is Odin's son who avenges his father at Ragnarok, killing Fenrir himself. He uses his shoe to keep Fenrir's jaw on the ground and snap it. Now, I wouldn't expect this to be the case in the game. We know Santa Monica mixes things up quite a lot, but it's not unlikely that we encounter Vidar at some point, and his shoe, just like Heimdall's horn, will be a little more interesting than just a regular shoe. If we do acquire it, I picture Kratos using it as both an advantage in combat and a way to open up special areas, for example, so there is a decent amount of potential in this seemingly unexciting object. And that's the list. We made another video on 6 potential weapons we'll use in God of War Ragnarok over on Shayne's channel, so make sure to check it out and of course subscribe to him. Anyway, thank you Shayne for doing half the work for me. Thank you guys very much for watching and see you next time.